it's driving home from first turkey hunt of the season. So I tell the story because it's ended up being a pretty good one. So I got out there about 30 minutes before sunrise, which was a little bit later than I wanted to be. I kind of forgot to factor in the time from first light to actual official sunrise. So I got out there as the sun was coming up, so I felt a little bit rushed. Was running behind. And then so I went out there, got set up. It was a little windy. Didn't hear any birds gobble, but luckily I've hunted this farm for probably 10 years now. I got permission on it. I actually used to own the land next to it. Really good turkey hunting. And so I knew that if there's birds, there's some in the area, and just kind of sit tight. It's not really, you can run and gun it, but you're going to probably muck things up more than it's going to be successful, just because most of it is, I have permission on my old place, which has some woods. And then the one I was hunting today has a little bit of woods, and then I can hunt the neighbors, which is a full cow pasture. So like 80% of it is just open cattle pasture, open land. So I kind of knew a spot where if they come from one way, they kind of come over this ridge top. And if they come from the other way, they have to come through an open gate. So I just kind of set up in that transition area and then just put out a Jake decoy. Usually if I hunt the woods, I don't use decoys, but if I hunt an open field, I will. It just seems like it closes that distance, since they could kind of hang up at any distance. But so I got in there, sat for about an hour or so, didn't really hear anything. But it never really heats up until about 8. And that's just kind of that historic knowledge I have of the area. And so finally I heard my first gobble far away. I think it was across the road on a neighbor's place that I couldn't hunt. So, but I thought maybe I could call them in, and just started doing some calling. They were answering back, and never really sounded like it was getting much closer. But I figured I'd stick it out until noon or so and see if they came in or something. So I was just chilling out. Then I started hearing one get closer, so I thought, okay, maybe he's coming. And finally, he did get closer. And then I looked up, and he was outside of that gate, looking at my Jake decoy, decided if he was going to come in. And so I didn't have a rangefinder, but I kind of thought that the gate was about 30 yards. And so well within distance, I had the Jake at like 15, 20, pretty close. So if they hung up, it'd still be in gun range. By quite a bit. And so he came in, he was strutting around. I got in a rush. I thought that he was spooking, but looking back in hindsight, he was just curious about the Jake decoy, because he was strutting and walking back and forth, but I didn't want to risk it, and I figured he was within range. So when he poked his head up, I took the first shot. Clean miss. And then he didn't leave. He walked back and forth, poked his head back up again. I took a second shot, clean miss again. He ran and flew off down the hill. I don't know. I walked it. It was about 45 yards where I thought it was a 35, still within doable, but I don't know. I think I just didn't have my head down on the gun. I rushed it. I got the first bird of the season jitters, I guess. But I knew that bird didn't see me, because I was tucked in some real thick brush. And maybe my pattern actually hit, the brush in front of me. I don't know. I could make excuses all day, but I missed that bird twice. But he flew off. But I thought maybe I could call him back in, because he didn't seem to know what was going on. He didn't see me. So I shoot an over and under. I had one more shell left in my bag. So I loaded it and just sat there for a while. And then down the hill, a couple hundred yards, I heard him gobble from where he flew down to. So I was calling to him. Went on for an hour. I was shut up. He wasn't getting any closer. It seems like he wasn't spooked enough to leave the area. He wanted to come see that hen, but he equated that area with danger, it seems like, now that I shot at him twice. So on the backside of him, there was some woods. So I figured he was down a hill, so I figured I could go around, get in the woods, and then get inside like his bubble and call from a different location, and maybe I could get him to come in. So as I was going up the hill, I always make sure to just peek over the ridge top to make sure I'm not spooking any birds. So I peeked over the ridge top, and there was a big tom walking up the hill, kind of pecking at the ground and just feeding towards me, towards where my location was, and not far off at all. But I was very confident that he didn't see me, because as soon as I saw him, he had his head down, pecking at the ground. I dropped to the ground, crawled back down the hill, and then ran to my location where I had my Jake decoy and got back in the bushes there. And so I got set up, and this is probably, I don't know the time between the first bird and the second bird, but it wasn't too terribly long. And I had debated going home. And so I called to him, and the call was basically to kind of see if he saw me. I thought that if he saw me, he had boogered off and he wouldn't gobble. But as soon as I hit that call, he gobbled right to it, and I knew that he didn't see me. So then I just shut up, sat there, raked some leaves, and got my gun ready this time, and just kind of mentally prepared myself a little bit better. And the next thing I know, he had kind of J-hooked in, and I look up, and he's already at my decoy, doing that circle around it. So I wait for him to poke his head up, and I take the safety off, and I fire, and it goes click. But I got it over and under, so I put it on the wrong barrel that I had the shell in. So didn't panic. My gut reaction was to open the chamber and see what was wrong, but then I figured it out of my head. This is all within seconds, and waited for him to circle around. He didn't hear me or get spooked or anything. And he poked his head up. I took the shot and just laid him out, just 20 yards, 15 yards, just dead on impact. So it was perfect after that. So I was a little bit proud of myself for the perseverance perspective of it. Miss a turkey twice, not get frustrated, and just go home, just kind of hold out, see what the day is going to bring, and then just kind of the ability to get on another bird and make it happen. So tomorrow I'm going to go back there, see if I can get on that first bird again, but I'm going to try to do it with my bow, because I've never taken one with my bow, and I don't really need to take two from the same area with my gun. I just like to try to get one with my bow, and then I'll probably be done with that spot for the season, right? And I don't like to hunt that guy's land too much. I think that's really nice that he still lets me hunt it, so I don't want to wear out my welcome. I'll get him a bottle of whiskey, drop it off tomorrow. And then the next day, I'm going to hunt some public, and then hunt that public 2 days on a military base that's a bonus bird. And then Saturday, I'm going to do the Kentucky opener on a farm that's by my house that I have access to. And then Sunday, I got to go out of town for a week for a work trip. So pretty good day. Gonna hopefully be making a few more of these with 3 more birds throughout this week. But if not, I'm happy with what I got, and had a great day out there listening to the birds and getting to interact with them. So hope you guys are doing well this season. It's been hot out in the afternoon, but I don't know. People don't like that they changed the season dates in Tennessee to later, but I really like it. It seems like the birds haven't been messed with, and by the time season comes around, they're off of the hens. They're not flocked up, and they're ready to go. So to me, it's with these season dates, it's almost like they're more killable at the beginning of the season. I'm sure as season goes on, every day it gets exponentially harder. But for right now, I like season date changes. So, all right, see. So this is a follow up to my previous recording when I killed the turkey with my shotgun. I went out yesterday with my bow, took a blind with me, set up where I thought that I had that bird I missed come from, and just kind of set up there and put a Jake decoy out. So the sun was coming up, birds started gobbling, and then one started gobbling real close. So I figured it was the same bird or just another one, but really close. So I figured I was in business. He flew down, and everything was going as planned. I was calling him. He was gobbling. He came into about 40 yards and gobbling his head off, coming in, gobbled straight at me. It was an awesome show to watch, strutting around. And then I had my decoy set out at 10 yards. He got to about 15 and got kind of iffy, but he was still staying in the area. So I was like, well, 15 yards. Let's go ahead and take the shot. So I drew back my bow. He was so hyper focused on that decoy. I could have not had a blind. I could have been doing anything. I'm telling you, it's kind of opened my eyes to how much you can get away with when you got a decoy out there and that bird's focused on Jake. Because I was trying to be like covert in the blind and stuff, but still, if I wouldn't have had a decoy out there, I'm sure he would have busted me. But anyway, so I drew back, put my sight on the base of his neck, and took the shot. The arrow impacted him. I thought it was a good shot. I went there. There was some breast kind of feathers laying on the ground there with a little bit of blood. So I figured it was a good shot. I'd give him some time to die. He ran off down the hill after I shot him. But I figured he was just going to run down the hill and die. So I gave him an hour or so. Looked for him for 4 hours and didn't find him. But another thing that makes me question about the shot is after he ran off, about 10 minutes later, the direction he ran off to, a bird started gobbling. And I didn't want to call or anything because I didn't need another bird coming in. So I just kind of sat there. But after seeing the shot, looking for him, and then not finding him for 4 hours, I'm starting to think that it was just a non-lethal shot, and I shot too far forward and just shot the feathers off the front of him. So I think that's what happened. And so that sucks. That might be my first and only time bow hunting turkey. I don't know. It's a little too late in the season now for me to order some of those guillotine broadheads. And I don't know. It was cool, though. I would like to get some of the guillotine ones next year and maybe give it a try again. But I'm going to hunt some public. And I'm back to shotgun. I really hope I didn't kill that bird, but I don't think that I did. I think I just cut the front of him and cut some feathers off of him. So that's that. I just want to get on here and not just tell all the great parts without telling the parts that suck. So that's where we're at today. I went out on public today, didn't hear a single bird. I sat there from 5:30 in the morning until noon, and I just left the woods now. Didn't hear anything, didn't see anything, didn't even see a hen. Not a peep of anything, which I thought that maybe stuff would start turning on because I had geese fly over, I had sirens go by on the main road, I had woodpeckers, and I had crows all flying over. So I thought maybe one of those things will put a gobble out of something, but nothing. Just one of those days where the birds aren't talking. So I'm going to go home, do some fishing, I think, and then get back out there tomorrow. I'll let you know how it goes. All right, thanks. Well, it's the continuation of the continuation. So I get back on here with another turkey update. Was able to harvest my second turkey which after the non-lethal hit with my bow makes encounter number 3, actually number 4 because I missed that other turkey. But I was able to harvest the turkey this morning, so I thought I'd get on and tell the story here. So I went to a piece of public, kind of had a few different terrain features, about 500 yards apart from a center point. So I went to the center point to kind of listen at sunup, and I didn't sleep well last night, so I kind of debated even going because Kentucky opens on Saturday, and I have some private to go to. But my alarm went off at 3:30, and I was like, I'll just sleep for 30 more minutes, and then I'll go, and I'll get out there at daybreak. So I did, and I didn't want to get up, but I'm glad I did now, obviously. But I went out there, walked about 900 yards to that center point, waited for the sun to come up, did some owl hooting, and it was nothing, just completely silent. So I was like, man, it's kind of a waste of time. It's a perfect morning. Storms last night, but it was a really nice morning. It cooled off. It was in the 60s. But I started thinking about it and looking at the map, and I was like, I parked on a cut cornfield, and there was a creek running behind it. I was like, I bet if I go to the far end of this cornfield, go back to where I started, basically. You go to the far end, that pinches up against the creek. So there's got to be one roosted somewhere near there. And with the storms last night, everything was really wet. The ground was soaked. The trees are soaked. So the birds have to be soaked overnight. And the temperatures are going to rise. So if anything, if I don't hear anything, maybe one of those birds will come out to the field, some sort of strut zone or something, and just kind of warm their feathers and kind of dry out in this cornfield. So I went over there, found a tree with some low-hanging branches on the edge of this field, like actually about 5-10 yards in. So it's kind of a perfect setup, like a double base tree, so plenty of backdrop clutter, and then some clutter in front of me, so that was good. Took my Jake decoy. Was wondering if I was going to use it, but on like field edges like that, it's good. So I decided to put it out there. Did some calling, no response. So I just sat, just kind of enjoyed the morning. Thought about taking a nap. I got my mouth call out, did some calling, and one answered me way back in the woods. And so I called some more, kind of see if I could get him fired up. And he never answered me again. I thought, well, I should get up and go after him, just run and gun it. That's what I like to do. But then I was like, if he's not calling, he could be moving to me, and I don't want to bump that bird. So let's just give it a while and kind of see what happens. So just did some purrs and some clucks here and there, some light yelps, and had another one fire off further away. And I was like, I wonder if that bird's going away from me. Maybe I can get him more fired up. So got more aggressive with my calling. And next thing I know, he fires off, and he's got to be within 100 yards of me. So there's two different birds. I was like, okay. So got my gun up and just kind of got ready. Did some more light calling, and no answer. Only 2 gobbles. And then I look across the field from me, and he's a full strut, a full red head, just in the tree line right there, just staring out in the field, looking at my Jake. And I was like, okay, he's going to come in. Just be patient. Don't rush a shot or anything. So he steps out in the field and starts coming my way, kind of strutting around, putting on a show, no gobbles. And so I say to myself, he's coming. Don't try to take a long shot or anything. So he's coming in, and then the bird in the other field, a few hundred yards away, keeps firing off now. And every time he would come out of strut and kind of look for that bird. That bird, I think, must have been a more dominant bird, because every time that bird did that, he would kind of get kind of iffy on what he was doing. But then his head would turn white. He'd go back in the strut. And he'd be looking at my Jake decoy 3/4 strut, and he'd be back zoned in on it. And he was coming in, and they stopped and just started eating bugs, which I thought was weird, because I was like, this guy's riled up for a fight, and now he's just going to take a breather and have some snacks. But he, right after that, he went right back into his full strut. So then he was up on what I thought he was on my decoy, and I was like, okay, let's wait for his head to come out of strut. And so it did. I put the red dot on his head, pulled the trigger, and dropped him right there. But the interesting fact is distance estimation with me. I've had a problem in the past with distance estimation. I think a bird was like 30 yards, and they're like, I don't know, something crazy like 70. They did that opening day last year. In a wide open field, it's just hard for me to tell distances. In this one, I could have swore he was like about to be on my decoy attacking it. And when I went out to the body, I don't know if he did flop around a little bit, but he was a good 10 yards behind that decoy. So my decoy was at probably about 17 yards, and he was 10 yards behind that. So he was at 27 yards, which 30 and is when I try to get him. I don't really want to play a long game. I like to get turkeys close, or I think that's the cool part of turkey hunt. But I would have swore that bird was right on that decoy, and he wasn't. But I was done by 7:45, and it was from what I thought was going to be just kind of an enjoying a spring morning to a really productive morning, and it all happened within 15 minutes, probably from first gobble to coming in. 20 minutes, maybe half an hour at the most. So that's how quick things can change. So Kentucky opens tomorrow, and I've got some private to hunt. So before I leave for my work trip, hoping I can get another bird down. And so far, a really good season. A lot of birds. I've been seeing a lot of toms, and I've only seen like 1 or 2 hens. And I don't know if that's because season has been starting later and later, and then maybe the hens are already on the nest in the morning. But I don't know. It used to be I'd see hens all the time, and kind of the toms following them around. I know that's kind of early season stuff, but it's all been solo toms. So to me, this season date change is good, because I think the toms aren't pressured, and they're already looking for a receptive hen. But I don't know. The only thing that sucks about the season change to me is how hot it gets, because down here by 7:30 it's already 70 degrees. By noon you got to be wearing the lightest clothes possible, because it's 80 degrees in the afternoon, and it's hot, humid. But I like all the changes, so we'll see what happens in Kentucky.